Yes, good evening. Good evening. I am Patrick Cassidy. I'm the artistic director of Studio Tenn. That was not some old guy imitating a young guy in the street. No, that was me. But guess what? We're in the Franklin Theater, and guess who these people are? Everybody yell! Oh my gosh! Look at that. Everybody say yeah! We have an audience here today. We are in a theater. Thank you to the Franklin Theater. And we have an incredible guest. I know she is off camera right now, getting ready to come on the show. And I know, Shoshana, you can probably hear me. So before you and I start to jabber, I want to tell you, we have a little tribute for you. Our musical director, the incredible Mr. Patrick Thomas, is going to tell you exactly what that is. So you guys know, she was last seen on Broadway in Waitress, and she was the first replacement for Idina Menzel in Wicked. This is for you, Shoshana. This is from Mr. Patrick Thomas. Take it away, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm glad we got the memo that it's Casual Monday today. We're normally wearing suit jackets, but the weather's nice. We got lots of people in the audience, and it's Casual Monday. We got our button-downs on. Shoshana, we are honored that you're here tonight. We're very excited. So I tried to come up with a couple songs from some shows that you've done, and we're going to play them for you. I could find the whole meaning of life in those sad eyes. They've seen things you never quite say, but I hear. Come out of hiding, I'm right here beside you, and I'll stay there as long as you let me, because you matter to me. Simple and plain and not much to ask from somebody. You matter to me, I promise you do. You matter too, I promise you do. You'll see. You matter to me. Maybe I'm brainless, maybe I'm wise, but you've got me seeing through different eyes. Somehow I've fallen under your spell, and somehow I feel it's up that I fell every moment. As long as you're mine, I wake up my body and make up for lost time. Say there's no future for us as a pair. And though I may know I don't care, as long as you're mine, you matter to me. As long as you're mine, you matter to me. As long as you're mine.
So we're going to welcome our guest. I first want to say, I want us to thank our sponsor tonight, Mr. Jeff Horner. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show tonight. I so appreciate it. We here at Studio Tenn. And I want to tell you about our guest tonight. She is remarkable. Before I even do that, we have a new way to engage us here at Studio Tenn. For the fastest response and exclusive updates, you have to text us. Okay, here's the number. It's 615-802-6642. We will respond, and you will get exclusive updates and info from Studio Tenn as to when we're starting our season. Please text us again, 615-802-6642. Now I can introduce our incredible guest tonight. Shoshana Bean's 3 solo albums have all topped the iTunes R&B and Blues charts in the US and the UK, with her 4th and most recent project, Spectrum, debuting at #1. Wow. On the Billboard Jazz charts, she has sold out solo concerts around the globe, lent her voice to countless films and television shows, amasses millions of views on YouTube, and performed alongside Ariana Grande, David Foster, Postmodern Jukebox, McKnight, and Michael Jackson. Shoshana is a veteran of the Broadway stage, having made her Broadway debut in the original cast of Hairspray, starring as the very first replacement, as I said, for Elphaba in Wicked, and most recently as Jenna in Waitress. She won an IRNE Award for her performance as Fanny Brice in Funny Girl, and earned a Jeff Award nomination for her portrayal of CeeCee Bloom in the musical production of Beaches. Please give a warm welcome, so she can hear you, to Miss Shoshana Bean.
Thank you. I don't usually cry at the beginning of interviews. It's usually at the end. You guys got
Can you
me
hear
started.
them, Shoshana? Can you hear them in the audience?
Yes, but the other Patrick.
Patrick,
Wasn't that-
yes, Thomas.
I mean, that was extraordinary. That was so beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you.
When was the last time I saw you, Miss Bean? Oh my gosh.
2008 when you did
Yeah.
Superman? Was it Superman?
yeah,
Or It's a Bird,
yeah.
It's a Plane, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah. We're going to get to that later. It's first of all, congratulations on all
Oh,
your
thank
incredible
you.
success.
Thank you.
Wow. What an amazing, you work with people and you go, oh yeah, they're going to be that star. And then when they get to be that star, you're just so proud. So awesome for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How have you been holding up? I mean, in terms of work, in terms of, lack of work or the pandemic, have you been vaccinated? Any of those good stuff?
Not vaccinated yet, no, but I think, I think artists, just by virtue of the profession that we crazily chose, we're used to not always having the floor beneath us. I think we're used to pivoting and figuring things out and not knowing when or how the next opportunity to create is going to come. I think I've always been the type of person who, when there is space and quiet, I just immediately kick into gear to create or fill the space, really.
Mhm.
The space and quiet can be wildly uncomfortable. So I think I just did what I always do, which is just like, what can we make? Who can we raise money for? How can we, how can we keep providing artistic content for our viewers, even though we're all stuck at home? And how can we take care of our community? And where is there a need, I guess, is just kind of what I kicked into. And in between chunks of projects, I would rest a little bit.
Oh, it's great. No, it's how this show was given birth.
See?
I came to Tennessee a year ago. I was 2 days away from directing my first show, a week away from announcing my season, and boom.
No way.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it became this sort of, okay, what does an artistic director do when he can't produce theater?
Yeah.
Well, let's start an education program. Let's do a musical theater song contest for kids that, didn't get to perform in their spring musical. And that
Yeah.
garnered 150 submissions. And let's do fundraisers. And then let's start this little talk show. And as I was saying, getting people like yourself and the people we got Stephen Sondheim on this show.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And he didn't do anything during the pandemic, but it's been a tribute to the theater and all that. I want to start with you at the beginning. I want to start, where did you get your start? When did you get your start?
I'm from the capital of Washington, Olympia. And I think people are always like, well, what inspired you to start performing, or what made, I just feel like I kind of came out this way. I feel like it was always second nature to put on costumes, turn on music on the record player or my little cassette player, and dance around and move and a wild imagination and make things up and boss people around. And so my mom, thought that dance, my mom was a dancer, so I think to her that was like the natural language. And so she put me in dance classes first, and then I joined theater groups, and then I started acting classes and voice lessons. And so I think I honestly don't think there was ever going to be another trajectory for me. I think I literally I feel like I've been doing it since without prompting, without, like, yeah.
You weren't going to end up a dentist.
No, unfortunately.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music.
Oh, it's a great one. I have so many
Yeah.
friends. That's a great program.
Yes, very strong, very strong. Yeah.
And what shows did you do there?
Oh gosh. Sweet Charity. I was one of the, I won't call them prostitutes, dancers in Sweet Charity.
One of the ladies dancers.
One of the ladies of the night, Carmen. I did Babes in Arms, which is a beautiful Rodgers and Hart musical with so many of the standards we know and love, like Lady is a Tramp and Funny Valentine, which was really special because that's like all the music I was raised on. So that was my big role, was Billy. We did Hot Mikado, which was the most fun and truly probably the best experience. And I really thought it was a punishment at the time because all you're working towards your senior year is to be the star of the show, right? So I had a couple of leads already, and senior year, fall semester, he was like, I think that, and if you know Aubrey at all, this is how he talks. I think that you should, I'm giving you an opportunity to make a one-woman show. And I remember being like, he hates me. He's punishing me. This is the worst. And really what it did, and I say this to any sort of, aspiring artist or current artist or youngster out there who really takes these sort of hits and paper cuts from those who are there to mentor us or teach us. People have different teaching techniques. Some are rougher than others, but I think that sometimes the things that we think are hurting us are actually preparing us, and not always, I will say, but in this instance, I figured out how to craft a show and tell a story, and I think that necessity, that ability to create my own material and create opportunities for myself, that stuck. And so when you get to New York and like jobs aren't coming in and you're needing to be creative and you want to showcase yourself creating cabarets and creating shows, and again, it was in me from the beginning, but like him giving me the opportunity and the space and the resources and the faith to make something really, I think, shaped me more than I knew it was shaping me at the time.
Oh, that's great. It's great. You get to New York, and how long after you've been in New York did you get cast? Your first Broadway show was Hairspray, right?
Yes.
Wow.
It was
I have to. Let me tell you quickly.
Yeah.
Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman are longtime friends of mine.
I am sure they are.
And I'm going to say
That
this
feels like a good fit.
I'm going to say this very like they don't. I never saw Hairspray.
Are you serious?
I know.
Mark would take wild offense to that. So
I know you would. I know.
he never sees this.
Was it? Tell us about the experience, though.
Oh my gosh! I mean, still, I weep talking about it. Because it was just the best 2 years of my life. I mean, from the top down, you've done a million shows. It's rare when like there's just a synergy and a magic from producer down to I mean, everyone involved. It was just the most magical, blessed, touched experience. So I was in the city for 3 years before that happened, which felt like an eternity. We were talking about that last night because you come out of CCM and all the classes before you, people are getting to the city. They're getting cast in Les Mis. They're getting to the city. They're going on the tour with this thing. And so 3 years felt like an eternity and a failure, to be honest with you. There were so many things I really thought were going to be my debut that just didn't end up being. And so by the time 2002 rolled around, I was like, fine. And once I had my Hairspray experience, I'm like, it couldn't have been. It had to be this show. It could not have been anything else.
Any other show?
No.
Do you remember? It's so interesting when you talk about you're going on auditions. Do you remember like some of that original feedback? Like, what would your agent tell you? Shoshana's this.
The problem always was just like I wasn't right. I just wasn't right. I think that at the time, what existed was not, there wasn't a fit for me anywhere. I remember my first like really successful audition was for Civil War. I think they were going on tour and Dave Clemens was the casting agent. And I went in and I sang my heart out, my 32 bars or whatever at the open call. I sang my cut of my song from Sideshow, and he actually walked me out of the room and was like, this is not the show for you, but I'm not going to forget you. So I feel, and he did, he cast me in Godspell a couple months later. But I just think that I think that I was always too ethnic to be like all American in the ensemble, but like not ethnic enough for some reason. So like
Mhm.
people do it now. Like there was so many, but once you have the things that come your way, like once I was in Hairspray, it was like such an obvious fit. I understood why it just was never the right fit. And again, I say this for every aspiring artist or current artist who's frustrated with the way the business works, that like when it's yours, there's just like nothing that can get in the way of
Right.
it. When it's not yours, it has nothing to do with how good you are. It has everything to do with just like whether you're the right fit. And that is something that has to do with your unique essence and uniqueness. And you wouldn't want to change that. So yeah, but it was 3 years felt like an eternity, truly.
And how long did you do the run of the show? The entire time?
2 years. I'm a pretty
Oh, wow.
strong 2-year girl. At 2 years, I'm like, I'm not bringing anything else to the table. It's
And
time.
you banked some good money since you had been out of work for almost 3 years before that. So that's
It was
good.
good money to me. Yeah, I mean, as an ensemble member, the cap is like, we lived simpler lives back then, I will say.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. So then how long after that would you say that was the sort of stepping stone for you to get Elphaba?
I think all of my years were a stepping stone because of the relationships that I had created and the way that I had sort of stood and delivered every time an opportunity was given. So I had auditioned a couple of times for Wicked, once for the out of town tryout, once for the standby. And so it really was just a call. It was like, Eden's heading over to Brooklyn. We need a new standby. Are you interested? And so I think that once I went in as a standby from all those years, those 2 years in Hairspray of having to, adjust and be flexible when understudies and standbys would go on, which is very challenging when you are a cast member to be generous enough to sort of help them with their giraffe legs and adjust to suit whatever their rhythm might be. So I think I was mindful of like wanting to be a cog in the wheel and not reinvent it, like try to emulate as much of Adina's rhythm as possible so that if she was out, I could just slide in and be whatever the show needed me to be, as opposed to like, step in and create my own rhythm. And then when I took over for her, 100% learning from Marissa and Harvey made me the team leader and leading lady that I'm proud to be today, because of watching how they rallied a cast and sort of like kept interested in people and kept their doors open for people and treated it like a family. So I definitely think Hairspray was the best training ground.
Well, we play some games on this show.
Oh,
Shoshana.
nobody warned me about that. Terrible
We
games.
play some games. And actually tonight, this is the first time we play this game. We've devised this game just for you.
Oh, no.
And so now if you could put together all the actresses that have ever played Elphaba in a lineup, would you be able to pick out maybe who is who? Okay. So we're going to test your skills, and we're going to call this game Identify the Green. Identify the Green.
Is it a face or a voice?
It's a face. Okay. So we're going to show you some pictures of some incredible performers, and we'll go through them. Okay. Do you see them?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start at the top left. Who is that Elphaba?
That's Myrnie, followed by
Julia
Eve.
Murney. Good. And then if you
yeah.
all right, I'll let you go.
I got you. I can actually win this game. So
Okay,
going from top to bottom in the left column is Myrnie, Eads, Anna Gasteyer, Stephanie Block. Obviously on the right column starts with the queen herself, Adina. Then Brian Darcy James as Shrek.
Oh my God.
Rachel, my girl Rachel under him. And then I believe that's me, a much younger version of me.
Oh my God. You guys got to give her a hand for that.
Wait, that was so easy.
Unbelievable. Look at you.
Easy.
And you got Brian too. Look at that.
I mean, I would not be worth my musical theater salt if I didn't, but thank you for taking it easy on me. Games terrify me.
You did phenomenal. I wasn't sure. I had to look, and I know those girls. I know almost all those girls. Julia's been on the show. That's great.
Aww.
Okay. So now I want to talk to you about a show that I know that. Let's talk about Peep Show.
Oh God.
Do you remember Peep Show?
Must we? Yes.
Jerry Mitchell. I saw that show, and I want to tell you something. I thought some of it was brilliant. There was some of it I didn't understand. Sure. You sang great in it. You were incredible in it. But what was that experience? It was in Las Vegas. What was that about?
Well, the cool and sort of sad part was like that role was originally crafted for me to play, like the whole creation of it. And then, of course, when you get into the business side of things, Vegas was like, we have to have recognizable stars in these roles. So obviously, I was not going to be it was no longer my thing. So I think Mel B originated it, right? So then when she was leaving, Jerry was like, you can play your role now. So I think I just wanted to like actually get to do what we had discussed and anything for Jerry. Again, like Hairspray fam is like
Yep.
we don't really say no to each other. So but I ended up having a really good time. It was, I think, again, challenges that you have no idea are shaping you. Vegas was tough because prior to that, like the last thing I had done was Wicked. So respectful audiences, reverent audiences. You come to Vegas and the things that are being shouted at you from the audience, because the name itself suggests that you're coming to
Right.
have a certain type of experience.
Right.
And when I'm up there singing a beautiful song written by Andrew Lippa, an original song, and there's like beautiful, like you said, there were incredible
Gorgeous choreography.
I mean, I will not, because this is a family show, repeat to you some of the things that were shouted. So it was just kind of like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I allowing my art to sort of be disrespected in this way? But there was this one moment in the show where we bring up audience members to the stage. And up until that point, I wasn't super comfortable with like taking what was given, like riffing, like being on my toes, and I really honed those skills during that time because
So
of
you're
that
like your
one moment,
improv skill became you that moment to moment thing, right?
which only helped me when I then pivoted to really start like writing, recording, and then touring and performing my own material. Like being able to connect and engage and read an audience and have that rapport and communication is something that like you either have that gift or you have an opportunity to hone it, but it's not a skill that we are so I don't even know that it's something you can teach, except for just throwing someone to the wolves like I had been. We don't, as musical theater performers, I just only ever remember just like being so upset and frustrated when things would go left on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing Harvey just take all of that and handle it so gracefully. But I'm like, he's a comedian. Of course he can do that, And so I just think that Peep Show, that was the gift of Peep Show. How do you create a connection and a relationship with an audience and take whatever's given and turn it into gold? And so that's
And you're right, Sue. You're so right about something. The one thing about Broadway in Vegas, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in Vegas, and the hard thing about Broadway in Vegas, they've done Spam-A-Lot, and of course, Phantom was there, and Lion King was there, and Hairspray was there, right? Is that they have to shorten the show and they have to keep it at 90 minutes. So it starts with that. We're going to do sort of this edited version of what the original show was. And the reason for that is because they want to get people back to the tables. But it creates a different crowd that sees the show. The laughs are very different. Because they're thinking about something else. And I thought Peep Show had some brilliant moments in it. I thought it was sort of a review of different segments. And I thought some of Jerry's work was great. And you were great. I mean, you sang great. And but it was a show that was, I also thought, sort of two different shows.
Yeah.
It was trying to be one, it was another. It was like, but
the original intent was much purer, but because of Vegas and producers and ticket sales, they're like, we actually got to take more clothes off and edge more towards this. And actually, like, it kept shifting to appeal to people who obviously saw Peep Show and thought that that's what they were coming for. It was meant to be a burlesque review. It was meant to sort of hearken the artistry of the tease, not the actual strip.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah,
And you're right. That's what it should have stayed. You're absolutely
Vegas
right.
audiences they're not Broadway audiences. They just have a different expectation. So yeah, it's hard out there for sure.
Let's talk about what you and I did together.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the time. So, okay. So we did, for our audience out there and for our audience watching, my father.
I didn't remember, honestly. I was like, he's not going to remember that we did that.
Shoshana, I'm so hurt.
Well, I don't know. You meet a lot of people. You're very busy,
Shoshana, I became a fan after that show, and you never returned my phone calls. It was awful what I went through. Okay, so I'll tell our audience. So my father did a show on Broadway in 1966 called "It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman," and it was a musical about Superman, and my father played the villain Max Menken, and it's not done very often, although. When we did it, it had never really been done. Now it's been done, a Reprise has done it, or I'm sorry, Encores has done it in New York. I actually did a production of it, and I'll tell you about that in a second. I did a full production of it. But
Amazing.
Shoshana and I met because we did a staged reading for Reprise in California, and she played Sydney, which was the role. Do you know who originated that part?
I don't remember if I ever did know.
It was Linda Lavin, and
Okay.
and it made her a star because she got to sing that song, "You've Got Possibilities."
Is that she was in later, like 10 or 15 years ago, The Allergist's Wife? Is that Linda Lavin?
Yes, and she also did a big television series called Alice that was a huge hit in the 70s.
Well, yes. Okay.
But that was an incredible cast. I mean, Cheyenne Jackson was in that show. Richard Kind was in that show.
Oh, the best.
And you were great. And well, you. And I remember, and I'm going to say this to you, you sang that song, and I was like, who is that? There is that voice. And it was the same what it did for Linda Lavin. I said, this girl's going to be a star.
Oh, bless you.
And sure enough, I'm not kidding. You were amazing. It was, I got to work with you. I mean, we had books in hands and stuff like that, but it was like, where did that voice come from? And which brings me to, where did that voice come from? Who was your mentor? Who were your teachers?
I think that my grandmother was probably the earliest teacher, just by virtue of the type of music that was being spun on the record player. Great vocalists like Ella and Sarah and Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra and Barbra Streisand. And also the generation that I grew up in, like big vocalists were, Whitney Houston and the Weather Girls and Aretha Franklin, and like just big vocals all around. So and then I had a wonderful voice teacher starting in like 8th grade all the way up through high school, and then I've always been really lucky to just land in good hands. And then I think the rest of it is just the varied sort of music that I listen to and enjoy, and always wanting to be better. And then pain is always the very best last sort of like spice in the stew, is just like sharing your heart, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting you were saying about that you had developed that sort of improv skill on stage and stuff. I've watched you a lot this past week because I was looking for clips that I wanted to pull and stuff like that. And you're right. I mean, all your sort of 54 Below stuff, any of your stuff with your show, your cabaret, your whatever, you're very good with the audience.
Oh, thanks.
You're really impromptu and funny. Yes. Yeah, you're funny. You're funny, kid.
I miss them.
I know. Well, you have something. It's slow, and we're going to start to get it back. And I recently just booked with TPAC, we're going to do some Broadway cabarets, and Norm Lewis is going to do one, and Adam Pascal is going to do one, and Susan Egan. So we're working on that. So it's going to be a slow thing, but we're going to get it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Amazing. Tell us about Waitress.
Oh my gosh, the blessing that dropped from the sky. I mean, truly, that came out of nowhere and felt like such a weird idea. I was like, are you serious? This is the offer? Like, me? Mostly because I knew the women who had played it. I hadn't seen the show. I saw the movie 100 years ago. I hadn't heard the music, except for like When Teenagers Want to Coach, She Used to Be Mine, But I was like, are they sure? Like, they don't want to like do a work session to make sure this is a good fit? And then I just thought, like, I'm so uncomfortable with this idea. I had to do it. Like, I just felt like at that point in my stage career anyway, I was like, why not do something unexpected? Like, people are going to be so weirded out when they see that you're doing this show. Like, why not do something unexpected and stretch yourself in a way that, I've always just played like big, strong, ferocious body characters who are funny and they wear their hearts on their sleeves. And this character is the complete opposite. She just wanted to be invisible for the most part. So it was a huge challenge. And then like, God, what a gift of a cast and a creative team. It was the best sort of 7 months of my recent theater experiences. Oh my gosh.
And you got to work with Sarah Bareilles.
And I got to work with Grammy Award winning Sarah Bareilles.
Grammy
Yes.
Award-winning Sarah. What was that like?
So easy. She's just like so loving and creates such a safe space. And yeah, just available. I remember like her just texting to check in and be like, how can I support you? How's it going? Because the learning process of that role is really challenging. There's just so many props and so much sort of choreography with said props that like
And then
there's
you have to do
definitely,
stuff when you're pregnant, right? When she's
which is
she's
the
pregnant.
easiest part. It's
Oh.
the it's all the utensils and ingredients. And at some point in the process, you're like, I'm never gonna learn this. Like it's never gonna stick. And she just was always super supportive and you know, there's a lot of people who write a show and then they go away because they're like, my job is done. There are people like Mark Shaman and Scott Women. There are people
Mhm.
like Sarah who come back because it feels
And
like home
stay
to them and they
involved.
can always come check on their kids and check on the show and she was there and she's still like there for me, you know. So she's a really special soulful human. I love her.
Well, which brings us to our first little clip. We have a nice little clip of you, Shoshana Bean, and Sarah Bareilles. Listen to this, guys. This is pretty great. You guys could start a little group, the two of
I
you.
wish.
You
We got better things to do.
could- Gorgeous, man. Getting to
Thank
sing with
you.
her. Oh gosh,
Thank
you.
you.
Gosh, it's great. I mean, she's. You know, she did when they inducted Laura Nyro into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She sang Stony End, and I
Oh,
literally was like,
really?
she,
Oh
you know,
gosh, I need to
Streisand
look
had
that
that hit in this. It was a big favorite of mine in the 70s, but I was like, she blew it out of the water. She was so good.
I'm sure. I know her sensitivity and sensibility is just like it's unlike any other. She's so special.
So tell me about this incredible recording artist career that you've had. I mean, interesting. It's not musical theater, it's jazz and R&B. Yes. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
like, tell me about that and the transitioning between the two for you.
Well, to be really honest, like that's really was always the dream. I think somewhere in there was like touching on Broadway, but really the dream was I just wanted to be Mariah Carey. Like I just wanted to make records and wear fancy dresses and, you know, be behind the velvet rope at the club and like, you know what I mean? Like I just wanted to be a pop star essentially. So but the theater stuff is just what happened naturally. It happened easily as compared to the music business, which was just so brutal, especially back then. Because I don't know if you've ever had this experience with labels and stuff like that, but they're just like, you do Broadway, you sound Broadway, you're Broadway. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So back then there was a very large divide. And then over the years, I credit like Smash and Glee and the competition shows like American Idol and stuff with sort of like closing that gap and making the labels way more interested in having artists who are able to do more than just stand in a booth and sing. So that has changed dramatically since I, you know, was trying to do both back in like 1999 and beyond. But it really was what I always want to do. And I still love the process of writing, recording, you know, making records. I love touring, and I love touring with my own stuff and having that rapport with an audience that you don't get to have when you're
Mhm.
scripted and you're hitting your marks and like and I love it all. I love being able to pop back and do a Broadway show for 7 months and then hit the road for
Yeah.
7 months, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really the best of both. And there's a freedom in the music that I have now found a way, especially with Waitress, to sort of bring that freedom to the rigidity that I previously felt in musical theater, where I just felt like there's a right and a wrong way to do it. You know, I'm either doing it right or I'm doing it wrong, as opposed to like, I don't feel that way when I do my own shows. I feel a freedom of exploration.
Mhm.
And so I was like, why can't you bridge that gap and sort of like bring that freedom to the stage? And I did this time, and it was scary and challenging and totally fulfilling. And, you know, sometimes it was messy and sometimes it hit right in the bullseye. I don't know. But I think all that to say, I love them both. But there is something that you can't replace when you make your own records and are in control of your own decisions.
You know, it's so interesting when you play up. I remember the first time that I sort of crafted my first cabaret, my one-man show, whatever you want to call it. And I was petrified because up until that point, I had just played characters and hid behind a character. Right now, you're going to be me. I'm going to be me in front of them. And I have to just be me. It's very vulnerable. It's very exposed. But the flip side of it is once you like own that and once you're able to be, it's empowering. There is nothing better, I think, actually. I mean, yes, it's great to play a part, like you said, and it's great. But when you feel that confidence and sort of that you feel your feet on the stage and you're looking at them and you're just being real and you're being you, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah. And I think exactly what you're saying informs your ability to bring that vulnerability to a character in a way that maybe previously it didn't. That was my experience. All those years of, like you're saying, just being out there, like, if this sinks or swims, it's on me, you know? and like you said, really sharing like you without a character and a fourth wall with people, then coming back to the fourth wall on the character. I just found myself way more brave and way more willing to, you know,
So I know you were gonna sing live for us, and I know we had a little bit StreamYard and a little technical
sorry,
stuff.
guys.
So that's okay. That's okay. Would you do something just impromptu a cappella? Anything, just something a little bit for us, just so we can hear that great set of pipes of yours?
Sure. I guess since we were talking about Waitress, she is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine.
Oh, yo. Oh, man. Yeah, now we know why we put that voice on records. Now we understand.
Aw.
Wow.
You're too kind. Very good at this.
I am?
Yes, you're very
What?
charming. Your mother
you hear
taught
that?
you well.
Did you hear that? I'm pretty okay. Thank you. So we have another clip that we want to show of you.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good question for you. Tell me who the most interesting star and or celebrity that you've gotten to sing with.
Interesting, like bizarre, or interesting,
Or
like
interesting, like that you were
unexpected?
just like, oh, I'm sitting next to this person, or I'm standing, or I'm singing with this person.
So in 2001, literally in the weeks leading up to 9/11, I was singing backup for Michael Jackson's 30th anniversary concert at Madison Square Garden. So I was singing for Michael, his brothers, every artist that was a guest. And if anybody remembers that evening, it was a two-night event that they condensed for the televised version. And it was like every star that I was raised on and every present day star, from like Britney Spears and Destiny's Child to like Gladys Knight and Ray Charles. So I think I'm not good at like one choice answers. So obviously Michael was like everything to me growing up. So being in the same room and watching that genius at work was like a masterclass. Whitney was there, obviously, was another artist that was like the stars and the moon to me. So watching her work was amazing. And then, over the span of days, heartbreaking. And then I guess the coolest day was once we were in the venue at Madison Square Garden. There were like rooms, sort of like press boxes upstairs or whatever, where we had a piano and we would rehearse. And there was one day where we were working on Man in the Mirror with Luther Vandross and Usher. And it was just the singers and the two of them around the piano. I was holding my little, good musical theater girl that I am, my little cassette recorder, like you bring to rehearsal. And I just like couldn't believe we were just singing. Because of course, Usher was a huge star when I was coming up in junior high and high school, and Luther, my mother played Luther constantly. So I just remember that being like, this is crazy. Does anyone else think this is crazy? I can't believe this is happening. So there have been moments like that in my life I've been lucky enough to have. And so that was a crazy moment.
No, I ask this all the time. I think because the interesting thing about sort of being in the public eye, or and I grew up in that, is that you do get a lot of privilege, and you get a lot of chances to sort of work with idols of yours and people that you respect, beyond. And like you just said, you've gotten to sing with these people. And I had a moment like that, where I was Actually, I've said this before, many people don't. My wife was engaged to David Bowie.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's usually how people react, by the way, all the time. Right? The whole audience.
I don't know what the follow-up question should be. I'm debating like 5 different follow-ups in my mind right now.
Well, so she was engaged
What
to
happened?
him.
She met you.
Yeah, well, thank you. But yes, she did. It 27 years have gone by. We've been married. But years ago, when she was a dancer on his tour in 1987, the Glass Spider tour, and the other girl on the tour I was dating, and they came back, and I have one of those moments that I talk about every day, where you kind of like, you watch yourself and you go, is this really happening? We went to see the Rolling Stones, the Steel Wheels tour at the Coliseum in California. The opening band was Guns N' Roses.
Oh my God. This is legendary history you're discussing right now.
That's right. That's what it is. So we're on the stage, right? And I'm on the stage looking at 100,000 people standing next to my girlfriend at the time, my wife to be like 10 years later or whatever it was, and David Bowie. And we're watching his best friend, Mick Jagger. Right? But before that, we're watching Guns N' Roses, and we're standing right by the changing booth. So Axl Rose is coming off and throwing off one hat, throwing on a boa, and Bubba goes back on the stage. And it's just, it's surreal, right? And then, and they opened up, and then the Stones, and they were great. Now cut to, we go back to the Four Seasons Hotel. The Stones have the entire penthouse. And I found myself in the penthouse room with David Bowie and Mick Jagger. I'm 25 years old going, how did I get here?
What did you do?
I sat there and went, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you do Dancing in the Street for me right now?
I was like, did you embarrass me or were you well behaved? What happened?
I was quiet for the first time in my life. I just sat there like taking it all in, you know?
Oh, that is so cool. Did you take pictures? You don't have pictures.
No, there were no phones back then that took pictures. They were just,
who was carrying their camera around?
It was remarkable. And you know, and what I'm saying is, for you, the same way, you have those moments where you go, and I've had a lot of those moments, and I've been very blessed. And there's just people, but where you just go, thank you, Lord. You gave me this chance to be around this artistry and this person that you've respected your whole life, you know?
Yeah, truly. It's crazy. And they happen so fast and then they're over. So I think I have learned with age and wisdom to like really be there in the moment, like really be there. Cause like you said, there are no pictures. It's just, it's my memory. It's what we have, you know. That is such a cool story. Wow.
So I have another clip of you though.
Oh God.
Singing a Taylor Swift song with an incredible talent. Oh my gosh. Cynthia Erivo.
Oh yeah.
Is pretty great. In fact, we had John Doyle on last week, the director who directed her in Color Purple. And so I want you to see this clip. You guys are going to love this, and our audience is going to. Shoshana Bean and Cynthia Erivo.
I never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play him like a violin. I make it look oh so easy. 'Cause for every lie I tell them, they tell me 3. This is how the world works. Now all he thinks about is me. I can feel the flames on my skin, crimson red paint on my lips. If a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. I don't regret it one bit, 'cause he had it coming. They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? Most fun I ever had, I'd do it over and over and over again if I could. It just felt so good, good.
Wow. How did you maintain that, like?
Well, it was hard. And if you look closely, my dad was the one that pointed it out. He's like, yeah, your fingers were moving. Stillness is very difficult for me. And it's Cynthia's like default. She's so good at still. We balance each other out because we have very different tempos. And she is like the most peaceful, calm. And so it was an idea that I had to I was like, I want to do this cover and I want it to feel like a moving Vanity Fair cover. So like slow and sleek and sexy and wear gowns and it'll be this whole thing. And she was like, oh, I didn't bring any dresses to LA. And I was like, okay. She's like, can you bring me something to wear? And I'm like, you are half my size. I can bring you yoga clothes, which will probably be the only thing that fits. So we ended up obviously wearing stretchy all black. And I was like, I think once we get to the bridge, we should like go hard. And she's like, I don't think we ever should. I think we should just be still the whole time and not give people sort of like the thing they're expecting or give it the release that you like are expecting. So that was challenging for me for sure.
Yeah. Stillness is hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a problem with that too. In fact, what? Oh, keep going. She said, my producer's going, yeah, being still and having to sing at the same time. I don't know how you do that, you know?
Yeah, it's certainly hard. It's hard, but she's a good teacher for me in that way, because she often in our collaborations has pushed me outside of my comfort zone for sure.
I'm going to bring back our musical director who sang the wonderful tribute to you. Please welcome back Mr. Patrick Thomas.
Patrick, that was incredible. You made me cry. I was over here weeping. Thank you. It was so beautiful.
Very, very kind of you to say. Thank you very much.
No, it's true. It's true. It was just a great like arrangement, mashup. Your voice is incredible. That was really special.
So Patrick has been, he was on the first year of The Voice. He has been a staple for us here. And when we got to come to the theater, he was so kind enough to accept and come on and be if I'm Butch Cassidy, he's the Sundance Kid and much, much more. So we do another little game on this show, Shoshana.
I thought I got off easily.
This game has been from the beginning. It started with me wanting to sing with all our artists, because I'm just a big fan as everybody. And so we call it Remember the Lyric.
Oh God.
Now,
okay.
This is by the way, just so you know, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I can't remember what I had for breakfast. You want me to remember a lyric? But this is a song from a show you did and a song you sang. And what we'll do is Patrick's going to give me a little intro. I'm going to sing the first lyric, and then I'm going to point to you when it comes to your lyric. Trust, if you don't remember it, you can hum, whatever you want to do, but we'll see how far we can go. Okay?
I think I'm going to be okay. I think I can do this.
Okay.
I already know what it is.
So if you don't dare to find me, look to the western sky.
As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly.
And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me.
Tell them how I am defying gravity. Oh my God.
Yes, well done.
Easy. That's too easy. Gosh, if I didn't know
well
that.
Done. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell me about.
Again.
Did you want me to do another one?
Yes, that was it.
Well, I wasn't going to go. I'm not going to. I didn't devise the game to fool you. I wanted them to get a chance to hear you sing Defying Gravity. Was it hard? I was just thinking about this. Was it hard to go up on that last thing and sing that last kind of crescendo thing? That piece right there, going up in the air. Was that hard?
Not at 27 years old. No, it was not hard. If I had to do it today, we'd be having a different conversation. The lift itself, it doesn't do anything physically. You're basically just standing there in sort of like a nothing happens to your body physically where like it's affecting anything. You're standing on a platform essentially. So the lifting up had no effect on my voice whatsoever. And back then, like, I don't know, I just lived up there. It was like, I don't want to say it was easy, but it always came out for the most part, 95% of the time.
Yeah, they write it up there, and you keep going. I've done those parts too, where you don't want to sing it at 2:00 for a matinee.
No. God, matinees, torture, truly torture.
Yeah, it was not a singer or a performer who devised the idea of a matinee.
No.
That was a producer. Yes, exactly. It was a producer. Patrick, do you have anything you want to say to Shoshana?
I was just going to say, I can't believe you. We should have taken her up on her challenge there to keep the game going, because we've never had a guest artist who has wanted to play the game before. I was going to say maybe we should go to pop music since you have
okay.
I
No,
feel like
that's
all I remember in life are lyrics. I don't remember anything except for lyrics. So yeah,
Okay,
hit me.
let's play this game.
all right.
You
So
ready?
Patrick, take it. No. I better know it. What do you have? No, you do it. You play it with her.
Went to school to learn, girl, about things you never knew before.
Like 2 + 2 had 2 has 2 and 2 + 2 makes 4. Nah. Shoot.
I'm gonna teach you how to get it A.
You're giving me the hardest part.
Oh no. Okay, fine. We'll do
How
another
to get
artist
an
we came
A.
up with.
Yeah, I don't know the next line.
how
I know
about
how
this
to get an A. Okay.
Now Patrick brought this band up. Let's see. She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memory when everything was as best as a bright the sky. Now your turn. 1, 2, 3.
Now and then when I see your face, it takes me away to that special place. And if I stay there too long, I'll probably break down and cry. Good
Oh,
one,
yeah.
Pat.
Yeah.
Very good.
I get the feeling that you and I could do this all day long.
I love it. We should. We
Yeah,
all have our own private.
Check, please. Check. That's unbelievable. Like, we just added another thing to the show. You've been the first guest that wants to do more of them. I love that.
That's actually a fun game. I'm a little embarrassed about the ABC one though. That's embarrassing.
Do you have anything you'd like to ask Shoshana before we go and come back?
Honestly, I just want to say how much I've enjoyed it. I've kind of been here in the wings watching, and it's a lot of what you said has inspired me, being someone that feels sometimes pigeonholed by wanting to do Broadway things and pop music things and be in both worlds. And I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed it. And once again, thank you for the kind words at the beginning. That was very kind.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so funny you say that, because in listening to the arrangement at the top, I'm like, that's what we need more of in musical theater, is people who come with a different vocabulary and a different sensibility, because, I just feel like we can always afford different colors and different, like I said, vocabulary, a different language, or a different interpretation of the same language. So I think that's really special, and I'll probably be bothering you at some point to help me make magic out of old things. So that's awesome. Thank you.
He's great at it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Pepper.
you're lucky to have him, truly.
Yep. So lucky. So lucky. Shoshana, you've been amazing.
I mean, it's a joy. It's so good to see you again, first of all. I'm
Yeah,
thrilled
well,
you remember who I am, and thank you for having
remember
me.
who you are. It's like I like to say that I got to know you when, and then I got to see somebody just become everything that they deserve. And you're thrilling, and you're so talented, and you're such a wonderful person too, which is like, yay, it goes together. You can find those people that are great people and they're also incredibly talented. We play one more game on this show.
Now I'm excited.
This is an easy one. We call it You Become the Host. And you get to ask me one question, anything you want to say.
Well, I think the question that came to me earlier, and I guess I'll just take this opportunity to ask it now, is I forgot. I'm sure I knew at the time, obviously, because that was the whole point of doing it. But I forgot that you were playing, that your father had done the show, and that was like part of the really cool thing about you being able to do it. So I obviously probably wasn't bold enough to approach you and ask you at the time. But like, what had you had other opportunities to play role? You didn't play his role. You played a different character, right?
No,
Richard
I
did play
played,
his character.
I did play his
Okay.
role. Yeah, yeah.
So what did that feel like? Have you ever played anything else he did? Like, did you feel his spirit around? I remember your mom came to the show. So like, what was that like for you guys to experience that again? I don't know if you were alive when he did it the first time. Like, talk to me a little bit about
Oh,
that.
it's a great question. It was the first time that I ever got to do one of his parts. The irony is since then, I've gotten to do that role in a full production. It almost went back to New York. In fact, and it was not just a reprise, a reprisal of the show. It was, I'm sorry, a revisal. It was a reprisal. We did, they changed the book. And Lee Adams and Charles Strauss, they updated it. And we thought it was going to go back to New York, and Man of Steel was coming out for Warner Brothers, so they killed it. They didn't want another Superman thing.
Yep.
I got to do his Tony Award winning part in She Loves Me. I got to do that afterwards. But yeah, it was an incredible experience, and it was the first time I started doing like his parts. And yeah, no, it was very good. But at the time, it was the first time. I was in awe of it. And in answer to your question, when I do his things, I like channel him. I feel like I'm channeling him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Had you, prior to that experience, do you feel like you had intentionally shied away from like being in his footsteps, doing anything he'd done, or had you just not thought of it, or an opportunity?
No, I think my hair finally got white enough that I looked like him, you know?
You aged into it.
And producers came to me and they said, hey, you should do this part, your dad. And I started to sort of adopt sort of a lot of his mannerisms. Like I'm not like him, but I can do him.
Yeah.
And so those things just started coming to me, and producers started to see it and said, we got to cast you as in your father's part. So
that's so cool. I don't think that I gave it though. Maybe I didn't understand at the time, or maybe I just was too scared to ask you, but I just think that's so cool. The legacy and like you said, to be able to feel like I don't know who's moving through me right now, but it's not me. Like, I love those moments. So that's just so special. And must have been surreal for your mother to watch you do it.
Totally. Yeah. In fact, my mother and I got to do, my mother did more movie musicals than she did Broadway, but we went back to Broadway. I took her back to Broadway when she was 70, and we did 42nd Street together. And I kind of channeled him in that part. So it was, it took her breath away, as she said. She's watching tonight too, so she's seen you as well. I want your phone number so I can call you and just kibitz and maybe offer you something or find out what you're doing. Okay, so we will do this. Thank you beyond words for doing this.
My pleasure. You can get my number, that guy from before with text stuff. That's sweet, man.
Yeah. I will. You are, like I said, such a talent and such a joy to be around. Hey, guys, please give her a hand. She's ridiculous.
Such a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
You are. In fact, actually, I'm going to give the audience. Does anybody have one question? Like, I don't want to keep her too long. Does anybody have one question out there? Yell it out. When are you coming to Franklin to perform?
Well, you'll have to ask Patrick that question, as he is the artistic director.
I knew there was a reason I get her cell phone number.
Like, way to pivot and make beautiful things happen in these crazy times. Like, thank you for doing this for us artists, for the audiences, for your theater. Like, it's very cool, and thank you for having me be a part of it.
You're awesome. You're awesome. Good luck to you. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you so much, Shoshana.
Thank you.
So great. Wow. How about that for guests? You guys like her? Isn't she amazing? Yeah, we were lucky to have her. Can we bring Patrick Thomas back on this show? I just love him next to me. I got to have him next to me. Pretty great. How about that? We got to add. We got to add like multiple remember the lyrics to guests with you.
Well, it depends on the music. She knows her pop music, so that was
Yeah,
great.
but you're also you're one of those people that just picks up anything. By the way, Shoshana, if you're still listening or watching, he plays the piano even better than the guitar. The guy's too talented. I want everybody to remember to engage with us here at Studio 10 for the fastest response and exclusive updates. Text us at 615-802-6642. That's 615-802-6642. We will respond. You will get exclusive updates and info from Studio 10 about the season upcoming, about our cabaret series with TPAC, about what we're doing here at the Franklin Theater. Please, please text us. There's so much to be had. I want to thank Jennifer Whitcomb Oliva for performing earlier tonight. Give her a hand. She's here in the audience. She was amazing. Patrick Thomas, you are the best. We adore you. What do we, I got to promote next week's guest. Next week, this didn't just work out this way. We have another unbelievable singer actress that also played Elphaba on Broadway, and that is Stephanie Block. She is on the show next week. Another incredible singer and actress. We're going to hear from her. She's a Tony Award winner. I want to again thank our sponsor tonight, Mr. Jeff Horner. Thank you so much for that. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Barry Beasley. Thank you, the Franklin Theater. Thank you, the staff. Do we have a goodbye song?
Do you have a goodbye song?
Do I have it? No, let me think of a goodbye song. I'm going to think, here we go. Little Billy Joel. Good night, my angel, time to close your eyes and save these questions for another day. That day is tomorrow. Good night, everybody.